Hello, and welcome to the Karluigi Season 1 wrap-up. I'm your host, Karluigi, and, I'm here to talk a bit about the first year of the channel. With a live subscriber count of like 11, it might not seem all that relevant or useful to make a whole channel status video or update video, but, I wanted to get something out on the regular cadence, and there's going to be a vote for all of you 11 loyal viewers out there about a bigger project I would like to tackle next. So maybe stick around for that. Hopefully I've remembered to put up a community poll for it, but we'll see. Otherwise, just comment it on the video here. So let's start by talking a bit about the wrap-up. This year last year really, I published 12 videos. I didn't make them all that year. The original plan was to make 26 videos so there could be one every other week, but just turned out to be a bit too much work for me to be able to manage that. So the videos are the ones you can see here listed for each month, and let's just say that it took a while before I started getting, okay at making these videos. Speaking of that, quality. Here is the tier list of Karluigi picks, the ones I liked. Feel free to make your own, but I think Life is Strange and Dark Messiah of Might and Magic are the ones where I just had something unique to say that I felt that other reviewers hadn't really talked about. And I'm just overall really happy about how those videos came out. I thought the same was true largely of Call of Juarez Gunslinger, but I was so early into the process that I didn't really have my style down yet. I really liked the Sleeping Dogs videos. I think that one turned out really well. Not as good as Life is Strange or Dark Messiah. And the Fahrenheit video is just really funny to me still. Like, I've watched it back and I think I'm genuinely pretty funny in that one for once. So even if I didn't have a lot to say, I think the framing device of talking about, the different honors that David Cage got was pretty inventive and fun. So overall, a good video. Yeah, I have a soft spot for Mirror's Edge, as you might know. The first video is absolute trash, and I wouldn't suggest viewing it for anyone. But the Mirror's Edge Catalyst one is pretty good. I don't know what else to say. Let's just move on. So in terms of views, none of them got a lot of views. The highest one is the Dark Messiah at like 360, and I'm really happy about that. Like, compared to 11 subscribers, that's a pretty good reach. Ultimately though, I don't really do this for the views. I just think it's pretty fun to write essays about the games I like. Making some money in the process wouldn't be bad, but it's not the primary goal here. This tier list is mostly, for the heck of it rather than something super serious. Moving on. The idea behind Season 1 was to revisit notable games I'd played before on the highest difficulty where I could, and talk a bit about how I saw them and, if they changed. I think one of the things I was toying with as like a concept for the channel was to play a lot of games, review them, and sort of make a Karluigi canon in terms of like, here are the games I would think you should have played to be considered well played, I guess, the sort of equivalent of being well read in literature or having seen many notable films. Yeah, to get some sort of general knowledge level established, but I don't know. That's not really the concept I went with. It ended up being just replaying games that I found notable for one reason or another. In some cases that was very good, like with the Mirror's Edges and the Dishonored's, and sometimes it was being really bad, like with Fahrenheit and to an extent Spec Ops. I will make a season 2. I have started doing the first game. I'm currently playing it as of recording. Plan is to do 12 videos again, have them up on the same schedule of like the 25th every month. The new theme is playing games I feel like I ought to have played for the first time. So it's sort of continuing on the idea of the Karluigi canon. I have not played the original BioShock, so that's one of the ones that is definitely going to be on the list, just because it feels like I've been missing out. Every video essayist has probably played BioShock, right? So it seems like one of those games where there's a lot of value in having experienced it, understanding what all the talk is about. So specific plans are not done yet, but I have a couple of ideas. We'll see. One of the things about season 2 though is that I want to get at least, I think, 8 or 9 videos done before I start publishing them, so that I can be sure that we're going to have a year of videos, because I don't want to release one video and then go on like a 4-month break and then release another video and then do like 2 months and then on and off all the time. Some of the games I've decided that are definitely going to be on season 2 is BioShock, Disco Elysium, and Deathloop. But other than that, specifics are lacking. I also have a new format that I'm going to be starting to put out videos on, a bit more like this one, where I have a PowerPoint. I have some generic footage, and where I, instead of having a detailed script, I'm just doing bullet points and talking more freely about thoughts on series or games or things in gaming, to be able to put out videos while I'm working on season 2. So the planned topics as of yet are From Software games and Star Citizen, which I think could be really interesting. But yeah, they're supposed to be less formal and with a lot less editing. If you've watched any of my videos, you know that I'm a pretty bad editor, and that takes a fair amount of time. So not having to do a lot of scripting and not having to do a lot of editing is really going to speed up the production schedule, which means that I can continue making season 2 while also making videos to upload. So hopefully that will tide all 11 of you over until season 2 is ready to be launched. I also have an unnamed long-form project that I want to work on. So it's some form of comparative video game project. Basically a bit like what Noah Caldwell-Gervais does. I think he's probably the best video game YouTuber out there, bar none. Yeah. Again, I don't know if I have a name for the series. I think it works better just to have a name for the specific comparative project. And I have 4 proposals, roughly in the order of which I'm excited to make them. And as I said at the top, I'm hopefully going to have remembered to put out a community poll to get you guys to vote for what to make. So the first proposal would be called Good Bad Games, Deadly Premonition and Pathologic. And the pitch is basically exploring 2 legendary bad games, which are legendary and bad for different reasons. Why they're interesting to talk about, what makes them good, what makes them bad, and maybe, if applicable, what makes them great. I also would like to play their sequels, Deadly Premonition 2, A Blessing in Disguise, and Pathologic 2, and compare how the different series handled launching a game that was largely received as bad and still making a series out of it, and what they chose to take from the previous game, what they decided to change. I'm really excited for this one, and I think it could be a really fun project. It would mean I have to play Pathologic though, so, that kind of dampens some of my enthusiasm. I played a couple of hours of it because I saw both Mandalore Gaming's and H-Bomber Guy's videos on Pathologic, and I thought, that sounds really interesting, I'll give it a try, and didn't finish it. But maybe, if I know it's for an essay project, I could actually get through at least one of the campaigns. I'm definitely not going to promise playing all 3 of the Pathologic campaigns, because oh boy, that would be a lot. So that's the first pitch, good bad games. Second pitch, Sisyphus goes to Anime High School, Modern Persona. I think in terms of names, this is clearly the best one. And if you're unfamiliar with Albert Camus, that may not make a lot of sense in terms of the title. But basically, I want to explore Persona 3, 4, and 5, the remake coming out of Persona 3, Persona 4 Golden, and Persona 5 Royal being on Steam. I think the time is right, or now it would be like a possible project to play all of them and talk about them, because they're very interesting in the sense that they're so, at least for me, I read Persona 4 and 5, which are the only ones I've played so far, as deeply existentialist games, and the philosophy was, to me, such a core part of the experience, and I want to talk about how Persona 4 really lives up to its existentialist philosophy, and how I think the base game of Persona 5 kind of drops the ball towards the end. Maybe that's fixed in Royal. If so, that's something to talk about. And also, Persona 3 is something I'd really like to play, because it's basically the same as Persona 4 and 5, just with, you know, a new setting, a new cast. So basically, the three lenses that would explore these three games is existentialist philosophy, the urban fantasy subgenre, something I'm a bit of a fan of. Like, I read the entire Dresden File series, up into including Peace Talks, I believe is the last one, and I'm a fan of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, obviously. I mean, who isn't? And Angel, the series. And I think, like, the parallel with Buffy and Angel, especially Buffy, is really interesting, because they're both urban fantasy and existentialist works of fiction. And I think there's some interesting discussions to be had there. And the last lens is obviously the Karluigi house style, which, if you've seen any of my videos, you know roughly what you're in for. So that's pitch 2. I'm pretty excited about this one, but honestly, like, these games are so incredibly long that it's a bit daunting, which, I mean, good bad games would be daunting as well. It's 4 games, but, you know, 4 20 to 30 hour games is like Persona 5, the base game. It took me 125 hours when I played it the first time, so, you know, it could be a real mammoth of a project, but yeah, we'll see. Proposal 3 is Time Paradox, 2 versions of Paradox Grand Strategy. I haven't played too much of Paradox Grand Strategy, mostly EU4 and Crusader Kings 2, but I have played a bit of Crusader Kings 3 and a bit of Victoria 3, and I think they're really interesting games. And I really find it so interesting how both of them are primarily map games, but also are so much about internal politics and how they deal with international relations, which is what you would expect a map game to be primarily about, from really different angles. It's just an interesting studio paradox, and this would be a good excuse to play some more CK3 and Vic3. I did economics, politics, and international relations at university, so these games are right up my alley in that sense. Maybe I'd be able to draw on some of the theoretical concepts I learned at university, which is an exciting prospect, as talking about realist IR theory isn't something I get to do all that often. And the final proposal, King of the Hill, 3 competing visions of Battle Royale. I think this one would probably be the fastest one to do, and it's something I've thought about a lot. When I first conceived of the idea of like a comparative video, this was the one I wanted, or this was the first concept I came up with, because I'm a big fan of PUBG. I think it's the best Battle Royale game I've played, but it's just so different from the other ones. And PUBG is like a fascinating beast in its own right. I remember playing it with some of my friends when we counted that there are like 13 premium currencies or something. The game is an absolute mess, and they keep implementing stupid stuff like mortars that nobody uses, and they spend dev time on that. I'm also really interested in how PUBG is sort of where Battle Royale goes mainstream, and it's quickly overtaken by Fortnite. And they are kind of the two extremes of very arcadey versus more true to the sim heritage that Battle Royale started off as, at least on the Arma mod branch. I mean, there's also the Minecraft Hunger Games branch of Battle Royale, but that's that hasn't really influenced their design, and that's a rabbit hole for another time. There are some pretty extreme differences in combat in their live service models and their game design focus, and I just think that would be something really interesting to explore. So that's those are the picks, or those are the pitches. I mean, it's up to you to pick. Once again, thanks for watching. I do this because it's fun. I do it for my sake primarily, but it is really powerful to see people watch your stuff. It's kind of strange, right? It's both terrifying and just really cool. Yeah, I'm rambling here, so I don't have any more to say, but please vote for whatever project you would be excited to see. Thanks for watching, and until next time, Karluigi out.